Good morning. Today we will be starting with the lecture 5, and the first part we will be starting here today is the introduction to input and output statements. So, breaking out of static code, hard coding values inside variable limits code utility to function effectively. Real world web applications must accept context driven data dynamically from external sources, that is, let's take an example of ATM transaction flow. An ATM platform requires explicit card insertion and PIN validation entry without before releasing currency balances. That is, when we are uh, writing a program, first we have to give an input and then only we can accept an output. So generally we will be talking about that input and output system in this um, part. So next part comes as what is input. Input comprises an information stream, raw parameters, or trigger event passed by an external user or hardware device into a program's active memory runtime. So when we write a program, we have to enter the values in it. The values that we will be entering is known as input. Think of a standard classroom prompt. When a teacher asks what is your name, the response string you speak represents the input payload. Then comes what is output. When we give an input, after processing they return an output, and that is known as output. The result we get after processing is known as output. Outbound system signals. Output represents the generated response or state transformation presented back to an external entity after processing an input payload. That is, the input is given, it is being processed, and the result we get is known as the output. Such as in math engines, 20 plus 30 input resolves to an output display of 50. Search engines query strings return structured ranking result trees. Authentication credential load custom filtered home feeds. Then comes the input process output IPO cycle. The input process output IPO cycle. Image showing a block diagram of the input process output cycle illustrating data passing into a central unit, that is CPU, and flowing out as an output block. It enters, it goes into the CPU, it processes and flows out through the output block. First is the input. Raw parameters are imported in the environment, that is example numbers. Then second is the processing. Algorithms parse, transform and evaluate values, that is calculating the average. Third is the output. Processed results are pushed to terminal displays, that is the output we get. Then comes the console output via print. So here the print keyword is a very important keyword. Whenever we want to display anything, display the output or print or display a uh, pre-written name or something, we use the keyword function print. Terminal display engine, the standard native routine used to transmit data representations directly out at the standard output system stream is print. This is the function we use for it. It resolves the internal reference or literal constant in readable string format lines on screen, such as base print syntax print welcome to Python. It prints this part written inside it. It is displayed on the screen. Print 100. 100 is displayed. Then comes printing multi-value sequence. Argument, it is also known as argument unpacking. You can print multiple independent variable entries or literal parameters at once by separating arguments with a comma inside the print call. Automatic spacing rule. When given multiple arguments separated by commas, Python automatically inserts a single space character between each element during output and return. So when there are many number of data to be displayed, we can write it inside the print function using the semicolon or the commas, not semicolon, sorry, it has to be commas. When we write multiple arguments separated by commas, it automatically inserts a single space character between each element during output rendering, and the commas are not shown there, such as name Rahul, age 20, print name comma age. Here the result will come as Rahul in space then 20 and not as Rahul comma 20. A print age equal to, this is inside the quotation, so it will be printed as it is, whereas comma 20 it will be printed age equal to 20. Customizing output borders with SEP. Alternating delimiter behaviors, the SEP keyword parameter overrides the default space character inserted between multiple printed parameters. This allows you to format tabular logs, insert custom characters like colons, or print raw matrices cleanly without extra spacing. Overriding default separator flags. Print apple, banana, mango, sep equal to this. The sep keyword actually um, interchange the default space to the value given here. Here, as a result, space is being replaced by hyphen. So the result will be apple hyphen banana hyphen mango. Print 10, 20, 30 separated this, so it will be printed like this. Controlling line endings with end. By default, print appends a new line character at the end of the output stream, pushing subsequent statements to a new line. Passing a custom string to the end parameter override this behavior, keeping successive prints on the same line. Standard line break bypass. Print hello end. Print world. Outputs hello world. Print Python then end comma. It will give print programming. This will be in the same line and not go in the second line when we are using the end. Capturing user data with input. The input function pauses code execution and waits for the user to type a response into the console terminal and press enter. The optional prompt message string inside the parenthesis prints directly to the screen to guide the user's input. So input is a function which is used in a program. When input is being used, the system stops processing the code, stop its process, and waits for the user to enter any value or given parameters and click enter, which acts as an input for the program. And after the input is being entered, the program again starts processing. Here is an example capturing entry flows. Name equal to input, enter your name. Here the in the console it will be asking for us to enter the name, we have to enter, and then this print target entry captured is being printed. Interactive labs and input pit holes. Missing executioner callables. Calling input without parentheses reference the function object instead of running it. The string return standard. Regardless of what characters are typed, input always enters data as string object. Numerical values must be explicitly cast before performing arithmetics. Mini quiz checkpoint. Which parameter configuration changes the spacing character used between multi-argument prints? Option A is end and option B is separate. We all know that the answer will be separate as it changes the spacing characters. Then comes the input return trap. The universal string default. One of the most frequent mistakes made by beginners in assuming that entering numerical values into a terminal yields an active integer type. Regardless of the character's type, input captures input exclusively as text sequences, that is string. Verifying data types. Age equal to input, enter your age. User types 19. Then print type age. Here the type data type of the variable age is being printed, and the output is value is stored as 19, not 19. Why does input return text? Image showing keypress signals traveling from a keyboard interface as a character code into an application buffer layout mapped to a string classification cell. The hardware character stream. When interacting with the standard from the elements or command console, your keyboard transmits button events as individual string literal symbols, not mathematical digits. Python safely buffers this raw inbound string stream, leaving it up to the programmer to parse out the numerical values afterward. Pipeline progression. Keyboard entry, then it goes to raw code symbols, then goes to engine buffer, then goes to generate string, and the string is being generated. Then come explicit integer parsing technique, functional nesting. To run mathematical computation on user input, you must wrap the inbound input stream inside an explicit int transformation wrapper. This extracts the numerical digits from the raw text string and instants a valid integer object in memory. Here, inline stream coercion, age equal to int input enter age, then print type age, output ready for arithmetic operations. Parsing decimal values with float. For inputs that require fractional or decimal precision, use the explicit float parsing function. This float is a function which is used to change data type into float data type. If we enter integer such as 6, then float changes it into 6.00, that is a float data type. This configuration is essential when capturing continuous high-precision parameters such as height profiles, CGPA score, weights matrix, product prices. Floating point type extraction, height, float input enter height. User has to enter 5.8, that is a float data type. Print type height, output is comes out as float. Sequential multivariable acquisition. Synchronous execution pauses. When running a consecutive input steps, the Python engine processes pause at each statement, blocking execution till the achieved input stream is completed. Each input operation acts as an independent event milestone inside the terminal transaction log. Cascading parameter captures blocks. Name equal to input enter name, age equal to int input entered age, city input enter. When we have to assign string into an input statement, we don't have to give specify the data type, but when we are dealing with integer or float data types, we have to mention whether it is integer or float, and so we are giving the int input, and we are not giving str input in case of string. Logs output sequentially print name, comma age, comma city. Here the name will be printed first, then the age, and then the city. Then comes the single line string tokenization. The split string tokenizer, the capture multiple values in a string interaction chain. the dot split string manipulation function to your input call. This method breaks up the user's input line using spaces as boundaries, assigning the resulting tokens to multiple variables at once. That is, the deconstruction spaced input string name comma city equal to input name and city dot split. This lets you enter the name and city simultaneously without mixing it up. If user enters Rahul and Delhi, name holds Rahul and city holds Delhi. So there is a mini project one, numeric compute engine, building an arithmetic calculator. This functional uh, application demonstrates the full input process output cycle by combining nested casting workflows with mathematical computational block. Processing numeric inputs explicitly. Num1 anti input enter first number, enter anti input enter second number. Mathematical accumulation statement. Total sum equal to num1 plus num2. Print calculate sum equal to total sum. So it is very easy, you can already understand what it is, and I am giving you 5 minutes time to go through this and write the code on your own. Then after 5 minutes we'll be again doing the next part of the topics. Second comes the mini project number 2, high fidelity profile builder, constructing mixed type student profiles. Username, the input is given. Here user is, then the input is given. College input, CGPA and then input. Print, this is the print we are giving, and here the full print sequence. Again, giving you 5 minutes time. Understand this project and try to do it yourself. Here comes the mini project number 3. The geometric evolution model, area and parameter calculation. This project uses floating values to calculate the dimensions of a rectangle inserting geometric precisions. Challenge Lab. Expand this program to calculate the parameter using the formula and the 2 into length plus breadth. Here is the program. It's very simple. Understand, and then again I'm giving you 5 minutes time to do it and solve on your own. Now, common input processing faults. Literal parsing faults. Passing alphabetical strings into integer parsing routines triggers a crash. Value error int hello. This is not acceptable. Input has to be given. Operator type conflict. Attempting mathematical addition between raw input strings and numeric types fails. Type error. X equal to input print x plus 10. We have to give the data type or else it will not take. Implicit concatenation. Forgetting to cast numerical input joins strings instead of adding them returns 230 instead of 50. Print 20 plus 30 as a string. It will concatenate and not sum. So here we will be ending today. Thank you.